How to hire a celebrity to do an appearance at your booth at a trade show. Trade shows are great for generating new business, and there are a lot of ways to make your booth stand out, attract people, and most importantly, acquire and cultivate new business leads. If you have ever been to a trade show and been walking around booth after booth, company after company, it all starts looking the same. What is it that's sure to stop you in your tracks? A celebrity doing an event right there. This always attracts a crowd which floods your booth with people and gets you an exponential increase in sales leads if you do it right. Here is the ultimate trade show strategy in a box. This strategy will let you stand out in a whole new way from all of your competitors. We are going to also include some other important non-celebrity related tips as well so that you have the total package. Even if you can only apply 30% of these ideas, your success will be greatly increased. Apply all of them, and well, you just might take over your industry is all. On your screen right now are a couple other links that have a little more details if you want to know how a typical celebrities organization works and who's the best person to contact if you want to get an endorsement. We won't go into that here. We're going to focus more on trade shows, but be sure to check those other links if you want to learn a little bit more about that aspect of this. Now let's do a great big warning here. Having a celebrity will not help you if you don't have the other things we mentioned here that channel all the new people into your sales funnel. So we have no choice but to give you the total package for trade show success if we can. Even if you don't get a celebrity, by following all these other tips, you will dramatically change the ROI that your company has been experiencing from trade shows so far. So first let's go and let's take a look at what an unsuccessful trade show booth looks like. This is what you usually will find. Little or no preparation before the show, a poor, unexciting display, the booth just does not pop. Not enough people manning the booth to answer people's questions. This next one is a big one. Bored, tired employees, often overworked and understaffed. Pushy sales type people on the front lines. No promotional literature. Not collecting leads, not following up on leads. No private area to actually close new business right there at the show. The executives of the company are not at the booth. The best salespeople and closers are not at the booth or the show. There's no refreshments. There's no swag. Nobody from the company gets to speak at the trade show event. The company doesn't create an event of their own. There's no motion, no entertainment, no video, not having several little areas for presentations, no one to answer people's questions. The booth just doesn't stand out. The company doesn't stand out in any way. And after the show, there's little or no follow-up with the leads that they do get. There's also no system in place for moving people up to the next customer state in your sales funnel. And the ultimate result? Nobody remembers the company, it was just another booth. Net loss after expenses. Now, if you look at all of these factors, it really comes down to about 4. Good people, well organized, a nicely designed, attractive booth, events and promotions that help attract people, and a system for handling people and the enlightenment and sales process. Now, a booth is actually a temporary organization. Everyone should be trained and practiced in their jobs with defined roles. This also keeps you from being overwhelmed at a trade show. But in a nutshell, those 4 things, if you do them well, that is the way to success. Now, a very important rule here. The lower that your total budget is, the more you must train your booth staff to work as a team with a system. The lower your total budget, the better you must train your booth staff to work as a team with a system. And we're going to go a little bit more into that now. But first, let's look over some of the characteristics of a successful trade show booth. Appointments are set starting several weeks before the show even starts. The booth team is closing business from the show opening. You did save the contacts in your database from previous years, or at least contacted potential customers who live in that city, right? There's an attractive, exciting booth display which is designed to draw people into it. There are enough people available to answer people's questions, but not overly pushy. There's a fresh, happy, well-fed, energetic staff that look like they're having fun. There's plenty of promotional literature that is easy for people to get. There's a simple system for channeling people who have greater interest into a more in-depth interview in a quieter place. Executives or employees get to speak at the trade show event. The booth looks fun, like there's a party going on. The booth or the company creates their own events, either at the booth or off-site, sometimes parties depending on the industry. Leads and contacts are followed up with on an ongoing basis, and again next year when you come back. Notes are taken on the leads in real time so that all the information about that lead is there in the original contact. This becomes pure gold later. The trade show hosts consider you an asset to the show and offer you better placement and more speaking opportunities for next year. Okay, let's move on to the system itself. It has 5 parts, and at the trade show, the first 3 are going to be the most important. Of course, the ultimate most important is your follow-up sequence with all of your potential leads, and that's where most companies fall down. But let's talk about the trade show itself. The most important things, if you want to have a successful booth, are to attract, channel the interest, connect with the people, filter, and then follow up or close right there. Now we realize that there are a lot of different types and sizes of booths and trade shows, and no matter what your budget though, the better you can think this through and apply it, the more successful you will be. When you attract, you want to get people to start, and the booth itself should have a definite beginning, middle, and end. It should be obvious to people where they're supposed to enter and exit. Even if it's just a small booth with a table, pick which way the traffic is flowing, and the earliest point becomes your beginning. If you do have a booth girl, that is where she will be, or any kind of staff that's going to greet people. You want to train them to attract, and then the next step, which is channel. You pass on the potential customers to the next staff that then connect. Greet the attendee friendly, ask questions of them. Don't just jump into a sales pitch. That's where you want to find out who these people are, and then we're going to go to the next step, which is filter. That staff who is at the booth are going to do a couple different things depending on what's happened after the connect phase. They're going to either give people promo or not, do a demo or not, invite them to your event or party or not, and at least get the contact info before the person vanishes onto the trade show floor again. The staff should be trained to recognize people that have a greater interest or are serious buyers and route them into the interview closing area if your booth is big enough, to leave them alone if that's the most appropriate thing, or to invite them to your event or give them some promo or not. People attract people, so it's actually fine to have too many people in the booth, even if some of them are just milling about. But this is why your booth must have a more clearly defined entrance and exit, so people come in, see something or learn something, the real hot prospects get peeled off to have a more in-depth interview, the majority give their contact info, get some promo or swag, and exit. It should be clear what part of your booth is for what. So how does a celebrity fit into all this? If you saw the outline of the system above, the first step is attract. Booth babes, friendly female staff always do wonders at trade shows. But a celebrity takes the attract phase to a whole other level. If your system is in place as above, you now know what to do with all these new people. The celebrity can do an appearance at your booth and attract you a big crowd instantly, help make your event amazingly well attended, and if they do any meet and greet or speak at the trade show itself, it increases your booth traffic for the entire show. In other words, you are far more credible in one stroke than almost any of your competitors. Then, make sure there are plenty of pictures, that you have a photo op with the celebrity. Put a clause in the contract if you can for the celebrity to post to their social media while they're at the booth with you. Make sure you have in the contract that you can use the celebrity's name and likeness on your website and for future promotions. Now let's talk a little bit about getting the right celebrity. Make sure that the celebrity you choose fits the demographics of your main buyers. Sometimes a B or C list celebrity can actually pull a much better ROI than an A-lister because of this. If you have questions, make sure to call us at 888-359-4521 and we'll help you find the right celebrity for your trade show and help you get your deal done. Hopefully by now you can see that you could greatly improve your success and revenues at trade shows. But we're not done yet. Here are a few other important tips we feel are quite useful for having the ultimate successful trade show booth that we didn't get to cover earlier. Swap leads and become friends with the other vendors at the trade show, even if they are your competitors. No one is able to get even a fraction of the contacts into their database of the thousands of event attendees. Even if there is a little bit of duplication, just one swap can nearly double the leads you have to follow up with. In addition, your fellow booth people often can save you in a pinch by giving you some last-minute supplies of something you forgot, food when you need it and are swamped, or any number of important things. Offer to help and share resources. You are in this together for the time being, and this will pay off in the long run. Do not, however, let your employees leave your booth because it is, quote, slow and hang out at the other booths. If it is slow, just attracting one person at your booth and having a good conversation about anything will inevitably attract others. You can have people at your booth when all the other booths nearby are empty. Try it and see. Always speak at events and get that as part of your deal with the trade show organizers. When you speak, give great value in your presentations, but don't pitch. If your content is good, people will come up to you anyway, and you will get plenty of new business leads in addition to what the booth itself does. Set appointments with people to meet the key company executives. This is not selling, it's for people to meet any of the key people in your company. Your key executives are going to be at the event anyway. Pimp them out. People love to meet the CEO or other execs, and it helps your company in many ways. Swag is great, but understand its purpose. It is for attraction, not for anything else. Even if it is super clever, it's just no substitute for an actual contact in your database as a result of the show, which you get via your system. If you don't have a huge budget, some extra female greeters for your booth are actually a much better investment than expensive swag. Bring your best employees and salespeople to the trade show, the ones that you cannot spare. Make it a game to see which employees can outperform the others. Almost any trade show is an expensive proposition relative to a company's revenue, and it makes sense to go all in. Have contests and prizes that the employees can win. At the booth itself, try to have everyone working in shifts of no more than 5 hours with some downtime. Give people time to have breaks. Everyone working open to close burns out your employees fast before the end of the show. You want people fresh. Use any temporary people to give your best employees a little bit of a break, and it's better to bring too many people to the show than not enough. You will probably need every hand you can get and then some. Tired, hollow-eyed employees don't do anyone any good. If your trade show allows you to have food, drink, or refreshments at your booth, do it. It is a great way to stop people in their tracks and get them into your booth. Here's an interesting fact. The average trade show attendee walks nearly 15,000 steps in a day. This can be 5 to 8 miles or even more. If your booth is big enough and it makes sense, you can have a little lounge area where people can sit and try to use it primarily as a holding area for people waiting to come in to the more in-depth interview area. This can double as a place where people can wait to go into the VIP area, quote unquote, to meet with your celebrity when the celebrity is there. Most of your attendees are just simply not used to walking the close to 15,000 steps or 7 miles that many attendees do, and they are grateful for a place to sit down, get some refreshments, and connect on a deeper level with you. This is a win-win. Make all the notes you can about a particular lead you meet right then, right when they walk off. You will forget, and there is no time like now for notes. When you do your follow-ups, this information will be pure gold, and it will not seem that way at the show. Still want that celebrity? Do you have questions? Call us now at 888-359-4521 or visit us at celebritycred.com.